Calendar page's idea, number one, is of course a big tag. And why not? I mean, there's so many beautiful images that come in the calendars. So you can kind of see where this one was. And then the other side is the continuation. So in this one, the back of the calendars are usually a stiffer paper, so they make a very good interior for a tag to wrap around. And that's what I did here, is I wrapped the image around. It just so happens that I wanted to create this. Now, what I didn't do that I'm hiding here is that there is a little hole at the top. As you know, there's usually a little hanging hole. Okay, I thought, okay, I'm going to center the hanging hole. But when I went to glue it up, it's off center. Well, we can fix that. So I took a little strippy off the side of the rest of the image and I folded it over so that there would be a two-sided aspect to it. And I'm ready to glue that on. So what I did was I made a little ruffle. Just made a simple little ruffle. So we'll glue that together. And I wanted it on both sides to hide that hole on this side as well as this side. So I cut a little slit. I don't know if you could see, I cut a little slit into the center part of the ruffle, which slides over. And now I can reposition this so that it hides the hole here and over here. So that was my that was how I was able to fix that. So we just need to add a little bit of glue just to hold this little ruffle together. And then add a little glue. Got to make sure I put it in the right place, right? Um, where's my split? Yeah, I got to find, oh, there it is. Okay. So the easy way to do this so that I don't mess up is just kind of sneak that glue underneath. Get that on there first. Okay. Make sure I have it aligned the way I want it. Put a little more glue over here. Make sure everything is staying stuck. And then add a little glue to this side. So if you miss that center hole and you want to have it on a tag, just be sure it stays aligned. Get that squeeze out. All right. So that one is done. That's a fun tag. And of course, if it wasn't quite this interesting, pretty a photo, you could always put a piece of paper on one side or the other and make it into a journaling spot. Now this is all that's left on this one. This one could certainly be a tag where you have a journaling spot on the back. So I would probably find something that has a little more, either that or I could put it on this side, cut it to size, and I'd have these numbers and these little spaces. So I could just use the existing calendar back as the back side of the tag. So there is the one tag idea. It's a good way of using a calendar. All right, let's go to number two. So calendar page number two, I decided to make a tag pocket and a tag. So this was just a very pretty, simple picture. Again, you can do collage on this on both sides. I could turn that into a little a little folio. Wouldn't that be a cute little, like a mini journal or a notepad where you could even sew something in and it's really a pretty cover. But I did this little cutout and you could see how the picture went. I used the strip that was on the top to line the inside so that you wouldn't see the calendar page on the inside. So this is very straightforward. I plan on what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to close this up. And you can see this was a chocolate bar, but it has a nice clean space on it. So I'm just going to glue this to the back side. Okay, so we have a tag. I'll put some kind of a woolly or something up on top. And we have a tag pocket that is actually a writing spot. So, and it's pretty. So why not? So there's another idea. Idea number 3 was rather specific to this image. So I love this sculpture. This sculpture is actually at the Southern Utah Museum of Art. I haven't seen it, but I went, okay, well, that would be fun. And then I decided what width did I want of the tag. And again, this doesn't have to be just one side with a writing spot on the back. It could be wrapped around. So it would make it extra sturdy, and it could even be, if you wrapped it around, this too could be like a little mini folio. It could be, you could have a piece of cardstock glued on the front and the back, and you could make a notepad. So there's definitely a lot of things you can do, but I think this is going to look really cute as a tag. It's a really cool sculpture. So I don't need to go through that one. You've got that idea. So that's number 3. Now this was a big one. And you can see where the picture was. I had this tag and it had like a hairbrush on it. So I was kind of like, well, why not? It's really, really stiff. This could be like a narrow writing board, which maybe that's going to wind up in a narrow journal. I'm not too sure where it's going to go from here, but it doesn't matter. I thought I have this fabulous grommet on the top that I could definitely put some fun kind of, uh, some bling, some woolies, some beads. This could be quite fabulous. And so I also covered it with some scrapbook paper to create a writing surface. So this is very straightforward. It's just using an existing tag from a product that I thought was cool. So why not? There's that. So there's all this left. And that's beautiful. So that is also what I wanted to create here. This is some very, very stiff cardboard. I think this probably came from the back of a scrapbook pad because it's very, very stiff. But I cut it to size so that it could be the background for a writing board. And since I'm using A2 letter size papers, I'm usually creating journals that have folded in half A2 size paper. So I made this 5¼ by 8½ because I do a lot of journals like that. But I thought this would just make a gorgeous writing board. So it's the same as a tag. I'm just making sure I distribute the glue. I will get out the Yes paste for this so that I get a very even distribution of paste on here. All right, I'll just go ahead and do that. I've shown this in other videos. Yes paste. It's acid free and it's called a stick flat paste. What's nice about it is that you can distribute it with a brush. And if it starts to dry out, this one's starting to crack a little bit over there. That's interesting. But you can really work in just a little teeny bit of moisture into it and get a lot of paste on here. It gives you a nice even distribution. It's strong. You have some time to work with it, and you want to work quickly. I mean, it does dry fairly quickly, especially on a dry surface like this cardboard. So you want to really make sure you get good coverage and work quickly. I'm using a second glue here on just the edges, really, because you want to make sure that the edges are really held down. And I like using a good strong glue, and somehow it just winds up being compatible. All right, there we go. So we don't have to be too fussy. We want to be straight, but I kind of like that pink bush in there. And I'm not going to worry about trying to line up the edges. You might want to with whatever you are using. You might want to make sure that that the image is aligned the way you want it. Another good thing to use on a writing board is a brayer. You want a nice flat adhesion. And I can feel it rolling off the edge, so I don't have to, I know I know I've got it where I want it. All right, let's take that aside. All right. And you're going to get a little curl, but that's going to be easy to solve, get put under some book weights. But I am going to put another piece of paper on the back side, so I just have a clean writing spot. I'm going to hold off on that for now because it depends what I'm going to use this. I might use this in a journal with kind of a garden theme. I might use it with a journal that has a lot of brown in it. Or I might even use it in a journal where I have a little more of the colorful stuff going on. So it all depends. I might want to use a colored paper back here. So I am not going to worry about that. So all I need to do is follow along the edge of that cardboard. And of course, you could do this with a knife. I'm fairly confident with scissors, but yeah, a knife might be uh, a little tighter to the edge. So you use what you like to use for cutting around the edges. And I still have a little strippy left. So I think I might keep that because I could use it somewhere else. So yeah, we've got a little curl going on, but that's okay. We'll get that under some weight. It'll flatten out, and I'll probably go through the same thing when I paste on the paper on the back side. And I'll want to ink the edges. The one thing about this really heavy cardboard is that you can't use one of these corner punches because it's just too heavy all by itself. And then when I add paper, forget it. It's not going to happen. So that's what I'm going to do with this. This is going to be saved as a writing board, and I'm going to keep that to go with it, as I will use that somewhere in whatever journal that winds up going into. But this is a really nice writing board, and it's a gorgeous picture. So it's one way of preserving it. All right, that's for that idea. This is just a quick little idea that I was playing around with these different images, and you might have an animal calendar. Now, this particular image came from a National Geographic, the one that had been designated to be cut up. So I fussy cut it out, this beautiful elephant picture, and I went looking to see what kind of these envelopes that I have that had a big window. And I found one in my stash that had a big window. So I see this as going on a page and being one of those flip up kinds of things. So that's just an idea to go with this, and it'll be glued in, so it'll be easy to take in and out. And I custom cut this to suit where this was the edge of the page or the edge of this particular image. So I just made a custom tag that would fit in this envelope well and be sticking out. So I'm going to do something. This isn't glued down yet, So I'm going to do something decorative in the background here, maybe another sheet of paper. I mean, we've got calendar images where maybe we'll put something like that behind it or something else. So I haven't decided. I was just playing with these ideas that I wanted to share with you. And this fits very nicely in this little, woo, this fits nicely in that window. It looks really cute. And this is just another idea, especially if you have animal photographs or maybe you have sports photographs from a calendar, or in this case, it's a National Geographic. So this could be a fun thing as a flip up or something like that. So there's another idea for you. Oh, and this is also another idea. All of those pictures that are on the back of the calendar, because when it's all wrapped up, you don't know what's inside. So like here's the little image that goes with the big image. Well, you could use it as a collage element. That could actually be a tag sticking out of something else. But yeah, look at all these cute little images. Here's this one. I mean, yeah, these are great little photos, but you probably already know that, right? So there's all of these little guys, great little collage elements. Really easy to round the corners, just include them in. So there's a couple of ideas for you. So I'm throwing this one out just because I love this photo. This is gorgeous. This is Yosemite. I have another piece of cardboard. I'm going to make another writing board. And you can see, look at how that's going to fit. That is going to show all of this beautiful late day light and the waterfall. That's going to be absolutely gorgeous. And then this will be on the backside with El Capitan. Oh my God, what a writing board. And I definitely, yeah, this isn't that going to be fabulous? So look for things like that because wow, what a great way to preserve what is a gorgeous calendar image. But what else can you do with it? So this could definitely, it could be lined and you could have a journal cover. I mean, that would be gorgeous too. So I might change my mind and turn that into a little signature cover, journal cover. Could fold up the bottom and create a pocket, and that could be the inside of a signature. There's so much you could do with this, right? So there's a kind of a few ideas with just one gorgeous image. So I know I'm going to use this one of those ways. I just haven't decided yet. Okay, so there's that idea. So you may have seen something like this, where you can turn one sheet of paper into like a little booklet. So I've wanted to experiment with that when I saw a video on it, and I went, yeah. So this one was from a big atlas that was falling apart. And I just took out that page and went ahead and made this little collage book is what its potential is. Not too sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I was experimenting and then I thought, okay, calendar images, another perfect way of using them. So I made a little mock-up here, and I highly recommend that you experiment with your images. So I found two images in this big calendar, but it would work with a smaller image as well. These are kind of non-directional. If you didn't have these words, it's not a big deal to turn them around and upside down, and it's okay. They're really cool. All right, so I was going to do that, but I didn't want to do it on the image. I like to try things out. So this was the page from a catalog that we don't need now. And that's I cut it to exactly the size of the image so that I could experiment. And I highly recommend that. So here's example. This is another page from that catalog. You don't need to measure anything. So I just put the bottom edge the same here and just go up here and make a little mark. Same for the long way. Line it up with the edge and make a little mark. And that's all you have to do. And just line it up. Let's do it the other way. Line it up. So here's how it goes. Super simple. So you fold it in half. And when you're doing it on your really, really good pages, you want to be very, very accurate. You want to make sure you fold everything precisely. So then it's actually best if you open it up and then fold it in half in the other direction. So you want to be super accurate with your folds. And then you want to fold it right up to the fold line. Make nice creases and then fold it right up against the other one, the other side. And make nice creases. Open it out again. So now you've got this fold. And the easy way to do this, I'll make a mark here so you can see. You don't want to do this on your calendar page, although you could do it on the back. But this is where you want to have a knife. And you can line up your fold top and bottom, and you need to see where you need to stop. But you've seen this in other videos probably. And then you can use the lines on your mat, and you've got the line in the middle. So just make sure you're very accurate with your cut, and you start and stop very precisely. So now you've got this opening. And now you see what's happening here. This is very flimsy paper, so it's going to flop around a bit. And then you wind up with these 8 pages. So I did that with the cover of that catalog, which is a lot sturdier. So you can see how that goes. Now you have a choice here. What you can do is glue the whole thing together, which is what I did here. All of these edges are glued together, okay? But you don't have to. Flip it over, and you have a pocket here and a potential pocket here. So these are all potentials. You have a potential pocket here and a potential pocket here. So you could add glue so that you can have a pocket going this way or this way. So you would add a little glue. And so you could make this into various pockets. But what you do have is you have this little mini booklet. And a lot of calendar pages like this one would be perfect for something like this, because this is exactly the same size as this, and so this is what you wind up with, and it gives you a great backdrop for collage or adding some book pages or writing spots. You could even sew in a little mini signature here, and you would have these 2 pages in the front, these 2 in the back, and a little mini signature in the middle. Wouldn't that be cute? It would be cool. So here you have a few calendar page ideas. So this is what I've come up with for using calendar images, which of course, would apply to any kind of nice images that you have that you want to repurpose. Calendars just happen to have some pretty marvelous pictures that can be repurposed in lots of different ways, just like you would use scrapbook paper or anything else, of course. And so I've created a double-sided tag with kind of a off-cut ruffle, a big sturdy tag that could also be a narrow writing board, but it's already from a product and it already had this big grommet in it. So that was kind of fun. And then one that just could be folded in half and turned into a pocket or a little mini folio. Any of these images really can be folded in half and become a signature cover, a journal cover for that matter, that could be on the outside and just made extra sturdy, especially with some images. I know I've got, yeah, here's a fabulous one. This one is from Zion National Park. I've actually camped in the campsite where you have that view. It's all day long. It's just incredible. So, what a fabulous journal cover that would be. And again, since this is really plain down here, if you wanted it to be like a folded page with a pocket on the back and then fold it in half, I don't know. I wouldn't use this one for that because I love this scene. So it'd be more like I would use that section, just this big image right here with Watchmen. Um, yeah. So there's that. Anyway, so yeah, lots of different things you can do with kind of these all over pattern ones or simple ones. Then I made a tag because this was a fun sculpture. So that's all there is to that. And I'll do something with an eyelet and something to give that some fun pizzazz. Same here. Give some kind of a topper to it. So that's fun using an image. It was like even this fellow, if he could have been an image inside of a window envelope. So do something fun with that. That would be another option. Of course, making a very nice writing board. This one, as I said, I'm not going to put anything on the back till I know which journal that one's going to serve. I'll have to give that a flattening out. And then I went ahead and took that big aspen photo and folded it into a mini booklet. Uh, is that pretty or what? That is so cool. And I left it to have side pockets on two of the sides and top pockets on two of the sides. So I just glued it down so that those would be just closed in that way. And I chose which side I wanted to have as the front so that I could really press down the edges and hold it like this before I glued it so that it would stick together in more of this orientation. Isn't that fun? I could have done it with this one too, since it's not so directional. And that's what you want to look for. The other one that was in this particular calendar that would work would be this one. This one would be not so directional. But as it turned out, this came out very nice. So there you have it. This is some fun ideas along with all those little mini pictures that are on the back of calendars. This particular one was on the inside of the calendar on one of the pages. So that there's those two. It's just we've got these great photos. Let's put them to work. So I hope this gives you some ideas of what to do with last year's calendars and hang on to them. And oh, the other thing, of course, was the beads. Now, I don't think you need me to demonstrate the beads, but let me show you really quick what I had there. So some calendar images are like are cool, they're beautiful, but they're not something, I could have used probably any of these to do some of these same things with tags, but I was really into making beads with some of these calendars. As I said in last week's videos, my sister-in-law gives me all kinds of calendars that she has as casts-offs, which are really, really useful. And I made all these beads with a lot that she had given me. I use a knitting needle. This particular one is. I think it's, oh, I can't quite make it out, but it's a very narrow one. I don't know whether it's a 3 or a 4. I had used like a barbecue skewer, but that bamboo, it's a little rough and it's a bit too narrow for the various cords that I use. I really liked this particular size. It rolls up, it rolls up very smooth and nice, and I wind up with all these very usable beads. I coat them with clear nail polish or colored nail polish or acrylic paint or gold or silver nail polish. So there's all of that and really, really quick. I mean, you've all probably made beads. It's a very fun thing to do, actually. So the main thing is to get it started. Once once you've got a couple of turns on it, that's when you want to add some kind of a glue. And good old glue stick is perfectly suitable for this. Ah, piece of paper. This is my paper. Definitely want to have something protecting your tabletop. Okay, so you definitely want something protecting your mat or your table. I do it a little bit at a time. Whoops. It's better to do it suspended in the air. Keep it tight. Kind of pull on, if you want it to be even. Get a lot of glue on the tip end, whatever glue you're using. And there we have a bead. And what I do is I use a piece of styrofoam and toothpicks. And you've probably seen this done before, but this is so easy. And then you put these on here and you brush them with your paint or your nail polish or whatever you're going to put on them, and that seals the paper. So it kind of rubs some into the ends, put it all over the outside. It dries fast, so then I can turn it around, flip it over, and do it the opposite direction to make sure I get a little at the end of that hole. And you've got, you can rack these up. You can really put a lot of toothpicks into that styrofoam and rack up a lot of beads and do a lot of painting. So that is my little kit. I have a little kit box. So there we have it. So there are the other calendar page things I do is beads. All right. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that that gives you a few ideas. And I thank you so much for watching. And next week we will do another fun little project that I showed last week. In that video, the teaser, we'll make that paper bag ephemera holder. All right. Again, thank you for watching and Happy New Year. Bye for now.